My name is Fred Solheim. I'm a geophysicist from Boulder, Colorado. I'm also a river runner. I've run the Colorado Cataract Canyon from Moab to Lake Powell probably over 90 times. And one thing I noticed by taking people down the river is a lot of them make changes going down the river. They come out the bottom of the river with some positive changes, maybe some more self-confidence, self-esteem. They've left some baggage in the river. So 8 years ago, I started a nonprofit to bring our disabled veterans down the river, thinking it'd be a treat for them, and maybe they'd get something out of it. I knew also that as inspiring as these guys are, as beat up as they are, they're upbeat and not feeling sorry for themselves. So I thought I would get quite a lot out of it too. But it turns out that the river was a very healing mechanism for these soldiers. It's a venue where they spontaneously form up a strong support network. I'll be laying on my sleeping bag at midnight and hearing these guys around the campfire still talking their stuff. So it's resulted in quite a few of them being taken off high-risk suicide watch by the VA. Some have told me that have thanked me for saving their life. Others have told me they've weaned themselves of substance abuse, and it's all because they got hooked up with their buddies on these river trips. It's been a very powerful tool, and I'm happy to do it. People ask me why I do it. I say, well, how can I not do it? It's because it's a river trip, it's a lot of fun, and it's very effective. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen House. I'm a licensed professional counselor, whitewater river guide, and a Special Forces widow, and I'm the trip therapist for Warriors on Cataract Canyon trips. I sort of stumbled into the opportunity a number of years ago, and being a river guide, I know the power of what a river trip can do for somebody, and I've also worked with the military active duty military for 10 plus years. And Warriors to me was the perfect combination of a golden opportunity to really help some people. This river trip in particular, we just came off, was a memorial trip on Memorial Day weekend for a Marine that was from the 2nd Battalion, 7th Regiment, Marine Corps Regiment, and we lost one of the members last year. He had been on a number of river trips, and he came on the first one and found it to be so powerful for him, really a place of deep healing, that in the next couple of years he brought more and more Marines out onto the river so that they could find the same kind of healing that he found. This river trip was particularly poignant, I think, for everybody because it was a memorial trip. Doc was killed in a motorcycle wreck last summer, and so everybody came together to grieve and mourn and to recognize our loss. And I see this a lot on these river trips, the value of what happens out there absolutely cannot be replicated in any clinical office by any traditional means. There is something truly magical about stepping out of your comfort zone and into a place that is so powerful, so majestic, and so healing that you can't help but be fully engaged in a totally different process as you move down the river. People step out of their comfort zones drastically. We have Vietnam veterans that have shared stories with me that they have never spoken of, ever. One of our very special trips is our women's trip, where the majority of our women are victims of military sexual trauma. And we've had some really broken soldiers on these trips, one of whom had an absolutely life-altering experience on the river. She had fallen out of the boat between two of the very biggest rapids, and in the moment when she could have gone one way and quite possibly have drowned, she chose to swim the other way, and she chose to live. And you don't have those moments when you're sitting in a clinical office. And that's one of the real values of these river trips, and the power, just the sheer power that come in this environment. You cannot replicate it. We've had veterans say that they've healed more in the 4 days on the river trip than they have in an entire year of therapy. That's pretty powerful medicine. For me personally, this trip was a special opportunity because it allowed me to connect with another widow who has joined this sad sisterhood of having lost a military service member that's their partner and their lover, and also to feel some like I can support and connect them with resources, which is also what I do with the veterans as well, in addition to being the therapist on call while we're out there on the river.
Yes, I don't know if anything would help deal with the loss of a child, but it helped me to understand how this program helped him and how much he enjoyed coming and doing this trip, and just the bond that you feel with everybody there. It was amazing. I noticed when he came back from the trips, he was much more relaxed, easier, just more easygoing. Before, he was always tense, wasn't very open, he was very removed from situations. So I think it helped him to just open up again, to enjoy life. He encouraged his brothers, as they were called from his unit, to join him, and I knew a number of his friends from the unit and went on different occasions. Not some of them couldn't go continually, but yeah, and he said it was very rewarding for him. It was very just getting back in touch and having the camaraderie that he had when he was in the service, having that again. That bonding.
Hi, my name is Keith Branch. I served in the U.S. Marines from 2005 to 2009. I served with 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines. If you know the Marine Corps, you definitely know 2-7 for the post 9/11 wars. I was deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, Fallujah, Iraq, and Nowzad, Helmand Province, Afghanistan. Both countries saw a lot of combat, and it was very tough coming home for myself and the other Marines and Navy Corpsmen and everyone who supported us. In Iraq, we lost 8 Marines. In Afghanistan, we lost 20 Marines. And since then, we're approaching, I believe, 30 suicides since 2008 from just my unit alone. When I got out, I struggled. I did not have the support system that I had in the military, nor the lifestyle or the brotherhood or everything that makes Marines and service people. I felt like a lost dog when I got out of the service. I struggled with alcoholism, sense of purpose, and really just missing my brothers. To be honest, I miss my brothers every day, and trips like this, it's natural medicine for me and my brothers. I believe in the healing powers of the river and the canyons, and the short time that we have together brings back the bonds, and it's a recharge for the year to come. And I believe that service people, Marines, sailors, Army, I believe we should get together every year on trips like this, because it is saving lives, and I am certain I am very involved in my veteran community. I know what's going on with most of my guys, and I can say for certain that every single trip saves lives. I'm going to speak for myself and other veterans. I believe we hold a lot of the same mentalities. For me, I believe there's a big disconnect between civilian society and veterans coming back from the war. I believe only 1% of American society serves in the military, and that creates a huge disconnect. For me, it's helped me build trust back into society. I think a lot of veterans struggle with trusting civilians and trusting that they'll have their back. And a trip like this shows me not only that I'm able to reconnect with my brothers, but that there are civilian supporters who want us to do this, and that means so much to me. I couldn't do. I've set up reunions by myself, but I realize that to get the full effect, we need support. We need financial support to get back together, and we need civilian support to maintain the bond, that we have created in the service. It's a long-lasting bond that will last till the end of my life. Thank you for your support, and I hope that you continue to support us Marines.
Okay. My name is Dan Dustin. I'm a Vietnam-era veteran. I'm also a professor at the University of Utah. And 3 years ago, I was awarded a large grant by the Candida Fund based in Atlanta, Georgia, to study nature's healing effects on veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. This is my second trip with Warriors on Cataract through Cataract Canyon in Utah. And what I found really interesting about this trip is that after the first trip, I wrote a journal article that was published in the River Management Society Journal this last fall. And that article describes the same trip I just experienced, which suggests to me that it's almost a form of replication. It's clear to me, based on my trips with Warriors on Cataract, that a big problem for these veterans is that in an age where there's no clearly defined just war, these men and women end up fighting for each other. And they form a tribe, if you will, and then they get discharged from the armed forces. They come home and that tribe is disbanded, and they're on their own. And oftentimes that leads to problems. Sometimes drugs, alcohol, a variety of problems. These trips offer an opportunity to reconstitute the tribe. There's an incredible sense of camaraderie, of brotherhood and sisterhood, of feeling like they're back in a community that can listen to one another, understand one another's issues related to their military experience. And I just think there's considerable healing in all this. What I'm all about is, I believe this stuff in my gut, but I live in a world that demands scientific evidence to substantiate the kinds of things that most of us who've experienced these trips know is in fact happening. And that's what I've set out to do with my colleagues at the University of Utah and elsewhere. And I'm pretty convinced that in the not too far distant future, for people who are having issues, not just combat veterans, but people in general, we're probably going to say, take a river trip. If you're a doctor, you're going to say, take a river trip and come back and see me in 6 months. We're actually beginning to talk about these trips as a form of a drug almost. And sometimes the big criticism of these trips is that it's been hard for us scientifically to demonstrate the lasting power of the effects, however positive they are. But I could make the same criticism of any drug that people take. You have to take another pill later on. I think there's a good chance that in the future we're going to be prescribing river trips every 3 or 4 months for people who need to feel nature's inherent